The sizzle of burning flesh filled the empty classroom as Tyler Morrison pressed the lit cigarette deeper into Emily Rodriguez's palm. The acrid smell of charred skin mixed with tobacco smoke in the stifling air of room 237 at Preston Academy. Tyler's cruel smile widened as he gripped her slender wrist tighter, his 6'1" frame towering over the petite teacher. "Does it hurt?" "Miss Rodriguez," Tyler sneered, his perfectly styled blonde hair catching the afternoon light streaming through the $95,000 smart glass windows. Behind him, Blake and Connor recorded everything on their phones, laughing like hyenas circling wounded prey. Emily didn't scream. She didn't cry. She didn't even struggle. Her brown eyes locked onto Tyler's with an unsettling calm, as if she were counting down seconds to something inevitable. Blood from the burn wound dripped onto the polished mahogany floor. Each drop a $50,000 insult to Preston Academy's pristine image. 15 seconds, she whispered, her voice steady despite the agony. "He'll walk through that door." Tyler burst out laughing. "Who, Principal Watson? That spineless old man who's terrified of my father?" But Emily just smiled the smile of someone who knew secrets others couldn't fathom. And exactly 15 seconds later, the heavy oak door swung open with deliberate force. The man who entered wasn't what anyone expected. Not security. Not the principal. Not even a concerned teacher. He wore a $15,000 Armani suit that whispered power with every thread. His salt and pepper hair perfectly groomed. His presence commanding immediate attention. Most striking were his eyes, cold, calculating, taking in every detail of the scene with the precision of a predator evaluating prey. Tyler released Emily's wrist instinctively, taking a step back. "Who the hell are you? This is a private school. You can't just—" The man didn't respond. Instead, he pulled out a phone that looked more like military equipment than consumer electronics and spoke 3 words, "Execute Protocol 7." Emily cradled her burned hand against her chest. But her expression had transformed. Gone was the meek substitute teacher facade. In its place stood someone who had been waiting for this exact moment, orchestrating it even. As she rolled up her sleeve to examine the fresh wound, old scars became visible, dozens of them, crisscrossing her forearms like a road map of past violence. 3 weeks earlier, Emily Rodriguez had walked through Preston Academy's gates for the first time, clutching a worn leather briefcase and wearing a modest dress from a discount store. The security guard had barely glanced at her temporary ID badge before waving her through. Just another substitute teacher, he'd thought. They never lasted long at Preston. Principal Watson had greeted her with the kind of nervous energy reserved for those walking into a lion's den. "Miss Rodriguez, welcome. You'll be taking over Ms. Henderson's advanced mathematics classes. She decided to pursue other opportunities quite suddenly." Emily had nodded, understanding the subtext. Henderson was the 3rd teacher in 2 years to pursue other opportunities after encountering Tyler Morrison and his crew. The principal's office, all leather and dark wood meant to intimidate, couldn't hide the man's fear as he'd leaned forward conspiratorially. "The Morrison family is very important to Preston Academy. Richard Morrison isn't just our board chairman. His donations built the new science wing, the athletic complex, and, well, they keep us competitive with other elite institutions. I trust you understand the delicate nature of certain situations that may arise." She'd understood perfectly. It was exactly why she was there. Her first encounter with Tyler had been calculated theater. She'd arrived early to set up her classroom, knowing the notorious trio always prowled the halls before first period, marking their territory. Sure enough, Tyler had sauntered in with Blake and Connor flanking him like bodyguards, their letterman jackets a armor of privilege. "Well, well," Tyler had drawled, his blue eyes scanning her dismissively. "Another diversity hire. Let me guess Principal Watson gave you the speech about being understanding with certain students." Emily had kept arranging papers, her movements deliberately nervous. "I'm just here to teach mathematics, Mr. Morrison. Tyler Morrison. My father owns half this school." He'd picked up her worn briefcase, examining it with disgust. "Goodwill, how authentic. Tell me, Miss Rodriguez, where did you get your degree, community college?" The jab at her Latino heritage wasn't subtle, but Emily had merely smiled shakily and mumbled something about state university. Tyler had exchanged smirks with his friends, already categorizing her as another easy target. Weak, poor, disposable. What he hadn't noticed was how her fingers had traced the outline of every security camera in the room, or how she'd positioned her desk to create specific blind spots. He hadn't caught the way she'd memorized their phones' makes and models in a glance, or how she'd already identified which one had the cracked screen protector that would make their recordings inadmissible in court. The escalation had followed a predictable pattern. First came the verbal assaults. Tyler would interrupt her lessons with comments about her accent, though Emily spoke perfect English in 4 languages. He'd question her credentials loudly, wondering aloud if her degree was even from a real American university. His followers would laugh on cue, a Greek chorus of privilege. Emily had documented everything in a small notebook, her handwriting precise and clinical. Date, time, witnesses, exact quotes. She'd learned long ago that memory could be questioned, but meticulous records couldn't. The cyber harassment had started in week 2. An Instagram account appeared overnight, Miss Rodriguez, featuring poorly photoshopped images of Emily in compromising positions. The posts spread through Preston's student body like wildfire, each share another twist of the knife. Parents had begun whispering at pickup time, wondering what kind of woman the school had hired. Emily had calmly screenshotted everything, uploading each image to an encrypted cloud storage system that would have impressed NSA analysts. She'd traced the account's creation to a specific IP address, geolocated to Blake's family mansion. Created at 2:47 a.m. on a Tuesday, clearly documented in the metadata. Physical intimidation had followed. Her aging Honda Civic, carefully chosen for its appearance of poverty, had been vandalized in the faculty parking lot. Tires slashed with surgical precision, windows smashed, obscenities keyed into the paint. The security footage had mysteriously corrupted. But Emily's hidden dashcam had captured everything in 4K resolution. Tyler had grown bolder with each unanswered provocation. He'd accidentally knocked her laptop off her desk, shattering the screen. He'd spilled coffee on her gradebook. He'd even broken into her assigned locker, leaving a note that said, "Quit now, or it gets worse." But Emily had simply absorbed each blow, filed each piece of evidence, and waited. She'd noticed the Bentley that appeared periodically in the visitor's lot, its tinted windows concealing the observer within. She'd felt the presence of her guardian angel, watching, evaluating, preparing. The smartwatch on her wrist, mistaken by everyone for a cheap fitness tracker, had recorded every interaction with medical precision. Heart rate variability, stress indicators, proximity alerts when Tyler got too close. It uploaded constantly to a medical legal cloud platform, creating an unassailable record of sustained harassment and assault. Principal Watson had proven as spineless as expected when Emily had finally approached him with concerns. "Boys will be boys," he'd muttered, not meeting her eyes. "The Morrison family has been part of Preston Academy for generations. Perhaps, if you tried to be more accommodating." She'd left his office knowing she had another piece of the puzzle. Administrative negligence. Documented and recorded. The breaking point had been carefully orchestrated. Emily had announced a major test for Friday afternoon. Knowing Tyler never missed a football game, she'd made sure to mention she'd be staying late to prepare weekend materials. The bait was set. Sure enough, Tyler had lingered after the final bell with Blake and Connor. They'd waited until the hallways emptied, until the last teacher had driven away, until even the janitors had moved to the other side of the building. "Lock the door," Tyler had commanded Blake, who'd complied eagerly. Connor had pulled down the window shades while Tyler had produced a pack of cigarettes contraband that would normally result in expulsion. But rules didn't apply to Morrisons. "You know what your problem is, Miss Rodriguez." Tyler had lit the cigarette with practiced ease, blowing smoke in her direction. "You don't understand the natural order. Some people are born to rule. Others, well, they serve or they suffer." Emily had stood slowly, moving away from her desk, away from the panic button that might have summoned help. "Mr. Morrison, you need to leave. Now." "Or what?" He'd advanced on her, his friends spreading out to cut off escape routes. "You'll report me to whom my father's golf buddy, the superintendent, the school board my mother chairs. Face it, you're nothing. A temporary inconvenience." That's when he'd grabbed her wrist, his grip surprisingly strong from years of lacrosse and weight training. The cigarette had glowed orange in the dimming afternoon light as he'd brought it closer to her palm. "Let's give you something to remember Preston Academy by." The next seconds had unfolded in slow motion. The cigarette touching skin. The sizzle. The smell. Emily's calculated non-reaction. Blake and Connor recording eagerly, already imagining the viral video. And then the countdown. 15 seconds. And now, as Vincent Blackwood stood in the doorway surveying the scene, those 15 seconds felt like lifetimes converging. Within 30 seconds of his protocol command, the quiet campus had erupted into controlled chaos. 3 black SUVs had sealed off the parking lot exits. Men and women in dark suits had appeared at every entrance. Their earpieces and bearing screaming federal authority, Tyler's sneer had faltered. "What is this? You can't— My father is Richard Morrison. He owns 16% of Preston Academy's board votes." Vincent interrupted, his voice carrying the weight of absolute certainty. "As of 4:32 p.m. today, I own 51%. Controlling interest, which makes this my school, and you just assaulted my daughter." The word hung in the air like a thunderclap. Daughter, Emily Rodriguez, the substitute teacher from nowhere, was connected to Vincent Blackwood. The Vincent Blackwood, CEO of Blackwood Technologies, the third largest tech company in America, with a net worth that made the Morrison fortune look like pocket change. Blake dropped his phone, the device clattering on the expensive flooring. Connor had gone pale, his mouth opening and closing wordlessly. But Tyler, product of generational privilege, tried to rally. "Bullshit. She's just a wetback teacher." Vincent moved, not quickly, not violently, but with the purposeful stride of someone who'd never needed to hurry because the world bent to his timeline. He picked up Blake's dropped phone, fingers flying across the screen with surprising dexterity. "Interesting video. I'm sure the FBI's Civil Rights Division will find it illuminating." especially combined with the 47 other pieces of evidence Emily has collected over the past 3 weeks. Emily pulled out her medical-grade smartwatch, tapping the screen with her uninjured hand. The device's interface lit up with biometric data, heart rate patterns, stress indicators, and most importantly, tissue damage analysis from integrated thermal sensors. Every second of the burn, every degree of temperature, every layer of epidermis damaged had been recorded and uploaded to a forensic medical cloud database. The timestamp synchronization with the video recordings would create an airtight assault case that no lawyer could dispute. "You see, Tyler," Vincent continued, his voice carrying the calm of absolute power. "Your mistake was assuming poverty equals powerlessness. Emily grew up in true poverty, the kind where cigarette burns weren't bullying tactics, but survival hazards from addicted parents. I found her 10 years ago in a Chicago group home, reading advanced calculus textbooks she'd stolen from a university bookstore." Emily finally spoke, her teacher's mask completely discarded. "He saved me from a system that had already written me off, trained me, educated me, and gave me a purpose exposing predators like you who hide behind institutional protection." The door burst open again. Richard Morrison stormed in, his face purple with rage, 3 lawyers in expensive suits trailing behind him. His resemblance to Tyler was unmistakable, same entitled jaw, same cold blue eyes, same assumption that money could fix any problem. "What the hell is going on here, Tyler? Don't say another word." He whirled on Vincent. "I don't care who you are. This is my school, and you're trespassing. Security." But no security came. Instead, more suited figures appeared in the doorway, these bearing the unmistakable bearing of federal agents. Vincent smiled coldly. "Richard Morrison, so good of you to join us. Special Agent Martinez has been particularly eager to meet you. Something about irregularities in Preston Academy's financial records, missing endowment funds, fraudulent scholarships given to the children of major donors while actual qualified students were rejected." Richard's lawyers moved forward, but Agent Martinez, a stern woman with sharp eyes, held up her badge. "FBI, Mr. Morrison, we have a warrant to search these premises and all associated financial records. I suggest you contact your criminal defense attorney. You'll need one better than these corporate suits." Tyler looked between his father and the agents, reality finally crashing through his bubble of privilege. "Dad, what's she talking about?" Richard ignored his son, focusing on Vincent with naked hatred. "You set this up. You sent her here to do exactly what she did," Vincent confirmed. "Document criminal behavior, and your son provided so much more than we expected. Assault with video evidence, that's prison time, even for a minor with his record." Emily opened her laptop, not the destroyed one Tyler had smashed, but a military-grade device she'd kept hidden. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, pulling up file after file. The screen displayed a sophisticated legal analysis platform, the kind used by top prosecution teams. Financial records, communication logs, and a web of connections appeared in damning detail. $3 million, she said quietly. "That's how much has been embezzled from Preston Academy's scholarship fund over the past 5 years, funneled through shell companies your wife controls, Richard. That money was meant for students like me, poor but brilliant, instead. It bought your vacation home in the Hamptons." She clicked another file. "Oh, and Tyler, your academic achievements that got you into Yale early admission, purchased answers to standardized tests, bribes to testing officials, even a ghostwriter for your application essays, all documented, all traceable. Connor, who'd been frozen in place, suddenly made a break for the door. He didn't make it 2 steps before an agent blocked his path. Blake had sunk to the floor, head in his hands. The reality of consequences, something he'd never faced, crushing him. "But wait," Emily said, her voice taking on a harder edge. "Let's talk about the real crimes. Sarah Henderson, the teacher who left suddenly. She's willing to testify about the threats you made. Richard, when she tried to report Tyler's assault on a freshman girl last year. Marcus Chen, no relation to Vincent, who transferred schools after Tyler broke his arm accidentally during practice. His medical records show a pattern of targeted violence." She stood, walking slowly toward Tyler, who backed away until he hit the wall. "Jessica Martinez, who attempted suicide after your cyberbullying campaign. She's alive. Tyler, she's willing to testify. All 17 of your victims over 3 years are ready to speak." Vincent's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and smiled. "Ah, the board meeting has concluded. By unanimous vote of the new majority shareholders, Richard Morrison has been removed from his position, effective immediately. Dr. Patricia Williams, the assistant principal you tried to fire for causing trouble. Richard will serve as interim principal." "You can't do this," Richard exploded. "Do you know who I am? I've built this school. My family. Your family built nothing." Vincent cut him off. "Your grandfather made his fortune through insider trading in the 60s. Your father expanded it through predatory lending in the 80s. You've maintained it through fraud and intimidation. It ends today." Tyler, in a last desperate attempt at bravado, snarled at Emily. "You think you've won? You're still just trash. Money can't change that. My father will destroy you in court." Emily held up her burned hand, the wound still fresh and angry. "Your father won't be destroying anyone. Securities fraud, embezzlement, tax evasion, witness intimidation. He'll be lucky to get 20 years instead of life. As for you, assault with a deadly weapon, hate crime enhancements for the racial slurs, conspiracy charges for the coordinated harassment. You'll be tried as an adult. Tyler, your football career, your Yale admission, your trust fund all gone." The agents moved in then. The satisfying click of handcuffs on Tyler's wrists echoed through the classroom. He started crying, the tears of someone who'd never imagined consequences could apply to him. Richard tried to maintain his composure as they cuffed him, still barking threats about lawsuits and connections. Blake and Connor were read their rights, both immediately offering to cooperate for reduced charges. The loyalty of the privileged extended only as far as their self-interest, as they were led away. Vincent put his arm around Emily's shoulders, the first paternal gesture he'd shown. "You did well. Better than well." She leaned into him slightly, allowing herself a moment of vulnerability. "It never gets easier, does it? Seeing how these institutions protect predators?" "No," he admitted. "But that's why we do this. Operation Clean Slate isn't just about revenge or justice. It's about changing the system that creates Tyler Morrisons." Principal Watson appeared in the doorway, sweating profusely. "Mr. Blackwood, I had no idea. If I'd known what Richard was doing—" Vincent's stare could have frozen fire. "You knew exactly what was happening. Every bullied student, every harassed teacher, every covered-up crime. You chose your salary over their safety. Clear out your desk. The board will decide whether criminal charges are appropriate for your negligence." As the campus slowly emptied of law enforcement and the Morrison family was transported away, Emily sat in her classroom, really hers now. Vincent had assured her. Her burned hand had been properly treated and bandaged by paramedics. The wound documented from every angle for the prosecution. She opened her secure laptop again, scrolling through a list of schools. Each name represented another Preston Academy, another network of privilege protecting predators. Red markers indicated active investigations. Yellow meant surveillance in progress. Green showed completed operations. So much red still covered the map. A soft knock interrupted her thoughts. A young girl, maybe 15, stood in the doorway. Emily recognized her Maria Santos, one of Tyler's quieter victims. "Miss Rodriguez, is it true? Is Tyler really gone?" Emily smiled softly. "He's gone, Maria. He can't hurt anyone anymore." Maria's eyes filled with tears. I thought I'd have to endure 2 more years. My parents couldn't afford another school. And the scholarship. The scholarship fund will be restored," Emily assured her. "With full oversight and transparency. No one should have to choose between education and safety." After Maria left, Emily returned to her laptop. A new email had arrived, marked urgent. She opened it to find a video file and a brief message. "Ms. Rodriguez, you don't know me, but I heard about what happened at Preston. This is happening at my school too. Please help." The video showed a young teacher being cornered by students in what looked like an expensive private school hallway. Vermont license plates were visible through a window. The timestamp was from that morning. Emily's phone rang. Vincent's name appeared on the screen. "I saw the email," he said without preamble. "Burlington Preparatory. Their board chair has connections to 3 senators. It won't be easy." "They never are," Emily replied, already pulling up financial records for Burlington Prep. "How long do I have to prepare?" "Take the weekend. Marcus is finishing up at Exeter, apparently. Their hazing problem was worse than we thought. He'll need backup soon, but Burlington is priority. That teacher, Rebecca Collins, she filed a police report yesterday. It was buried within hours." Emily made notes, her mind already shifting to the next battle. "I'll need a new identity. They'll be watching for patterns after Preston." "Already arranged. Dr. Sarah Williams, MIT graduate, impeccable credentials. You start Monday as their new calculus teacher." As she began building her new persona, Emily caught sight of her reflection in the darkened window. The burned hand would scar another addition to her collection, but scars were just proof of survival, evidence of battles fought. Her phone buzzed with another message, this one from a number she didn't recognize. She opened it cautiously, then smiled. It was from Dr. Patricia Williams, Preston's new interim principal. 17 students came forward today about harassment they'd been too afraid to report. "We're implementing every reform you suggested. Preston will be different." "Thank you." Emily allowed herself a moment of satisfaction before returning to the Burlington files. Vincent's words from years ago echoed in her mind. "Evil thrives in silence and shadow. We bring voice and light." She studied the Burlington power structure, identifying the key players, the weak links, the pressure points. Another privileged predator, another complicit administration, another school where money mattered more than children. But now they had a playbook, a network, resources. Most importantly, they had proof that the untouchable could be touched, that the powerful could fall. The revolution wasn't televised, it was uploaded, documented, and prosecuted, one school at a time. Emily closed her laptop and gathered her things. She had a new identity to memorize, a new cover story to perfect, and new victims to protect. The burned hand throbbed, but she ignored it. Physical pain was temporary. The pain of injustice, of standing by while children suffered, that was unendurable. As Emily locked the classroom door, students filled the hallway, some crying with relief, others angry at the system that had failed them. Her phone buzzed with Vincent's message. Burlington expects Dr. Williams Monday. The Bentley arrives at 6 a.m. Try avoiding burns this time. She typed, "Where's the fun in that?" walking out. Emily glanced back at Preston's Gothic towers. 17 voices raised, a predator removed, a system exposed. Tomorrow, Burlington Preparatory would meet mild-mannered Dr. Sarah Williams. They'd never suspect until too late. "Preston was the beginning," she whispered. "The tree has fallen, but the forest remains standing."